Hey, thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Extract Lab, Extract Talks.
We got Randy here.
And we got Dr. John.
Oh yeah, there we are.
Yes, and there is a lot of frivolity that happens, but we get a lot of good shit done too.
They give us a hard time too, for all of our fun that we have.
Yeah, and we
all-
give each
all
other a
these
hard
guys
time
over
too.
here, yeah.
We give each other a hard time too.
They're like, they just won't stop. That's what they keep on saying.
And the person, the sleeper person who gives us the most grief,
Yeah.
April.
Yeah, I know.
I know.
I don't know. I don't know what to say.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
She's over there blushing already.
No, she's on the bourbon over there.
Oh.
That's what's happening. Put that down. No more bourbon for you. You can have all the bourbon you want. I just don't touch my scotch. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. No, that JP Weisers does go down pretty fast.
I have no idea. All the bottles are gone.
Oh,
Did you see that?
What
Yeah, they're all gone.
what happened?
Oh well, you've been missing our parties.
Yes.
That's what's been happening. So.
Yeah, because you gotta when you're testing at lab day,
Yeah. Well,
you need recovery days.
Yeah. Well, at least a recovery hour. So
That's exactly right.
management's reception.
All right. Okay, good.
All
Well,
right.
today we have had a lot of good questions come in, and so today we're going to talk about some questions on how to generate really a good package of
Yeah.
everything that needs to come in.
Yeah.
So I think we've got a good list.
A lot of people ask questions about, what is it that makes your systems better than everybody else, or what is it? Why should I buy from you, or give me some ways to compare,
Yeah.
compare and contrast. So we're going to kind of
Yeah.
go over some of those key points.
Why you?
Why you?
Why
Yes,
you?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why I like Wagyu beef?
Wagyu. Wagyu.
Wagyu?
Wagyu.
Wagyu. We were talking Japanese.
I like the
Hi.
Kobe beef better than Wagyu beef, but it's not the same thing, is it?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Wagyu different.
All right. Fair enough.
Okay. So how do you evaluate? And we've gone through a couple of these things about how to evaluate a processor, how to do that. And this is kind of that next iteration of how do you choose? What do you choose? Right?
Right. So, what do you think is the most important points that you would put on the list of criteria, Randall?
Oh my gosh. The best thing is, someone you can trust, someone who's giving you good information, good enough information to make a difference
Yeah, I think so.
in your
Yeah.
process. That's really the bottom line.
Yeah.
Who's going to be a long-term partner? One of the things that I tell people and our whole team talks about is when you make a decision to be part of the family with our equipment, man, we pull out all the stops. And I mean, look at the information we're giving to people who aren't part of the family.
Right.
When you're part of the family, whew,
Yeah, we have people assigned to you as account technical liaisons and things like that. So it's really important that you have that support. You want to also work with people who understand the entire process. I think that's another big deal.
yes.
If you, what I found out, a long time ago when I first started to build the first extraction setup that I had, I kind of went around. I traveled around to various places. I do what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
I go and I call people. I made a table.
Did
no
you?
surprise
A
there.
table.
Made a surprise.
Go figure.
Yeah, and then I calculated the costs and everything because I wanted to make sure that I made a good decision, right?
Sure.
And at the time, Waters was the key company that was doing CO2 at that time. That was that's almost ancient history there.
Scary too.
I actually bought at the time. I also bought a -50 chilled reactor for doing ethanol separations, which I
Okay.
did.
Okay.
So we did both CO2 and ethanol. This is back in 2015, basically.
Wow, the dark ages.
Those are the dark ages, yeah. But a lot of water under the bridge. There's billions of dollars have been made since that time in this marketplace.
Sure.
And, so at the end of the day, you really, when you go and you're trying to put together all your systems and everything, I didn't really have like one person I could go talk to and say, okay,
Yeah.
well, look, I can see you're a leader in distillation, you're a leader in solvent evaporation, you're a leader in extraction, you're a leader in the overall process. You have software. You can help me with my building. You can help me with my engineering on there.
Yeah.
All of those things that are really important. You guys have an idea what to do from a quality standpoint. You have,
Sure.
so that's what I was typically needed at that point in time, and I couldn't find it, so we ended up, creating that for our customers essentially.
Exactly. And that's the one thing that Elijah and Quentin, they get these questions all the time, and they're really good at answering all of these field questions. They're the ones who are on the front line with you on the chat bot and different things. And, we come alongside that as well, but it's the depth of that bench.
Yeah.
Because they're the front line, and we've got, Dr. John, we've got Mad Dr. Doug, we've got Cole, we've got a deep bench of technicians and chemists and PhD. So we've got all of that ready for you. And the one thing that Dr. John said is that, as you're going through and evaluating a company to work with, you look at the depth of the bench, and what do the technical specialists, the chemical specialists, everything, the process specialists,
Right.
what do they bring to the table, and are they available to you?
Right.
Right?
Right.
So that is that first element, and that's support. And we don't just talk about the extractor. We talk about solvent removal and winterization. We talk about capturing the terpenes. We talk about every element.
All the value added stuff. And then also, if you guys are looking for, like formulations and, packaging and all that stuff, that's something also that, with the software and the batch record capabilities and all that stuff, I tell you, when you first start out, or even if you are not first starting out and you're sitting there with all of you're trying to run your quality system off of papers, you have to hire full-time people to push all those papers. Essentially.
Yep.
So,
or you're wearing all of those hats until you hire somebody to push those papers. Otherwise, it's on you.
Even with software, it takes a lot. You got to put something together. So it's really important that you think about that. And then, to satisfy the accountants too, they want to make sure there's bills of materials in your systems.
Wait. Can you satisfy accountants?
Well, I think you can. I think you can, as long as you have a good bill of materials that's very well defined, along with suppliers, and along with the cost and the costed, a costed, what they call costed BOM, or a costed bill of materials.
Yep.
So those are the things that would satisfy,
Well, that's true.
a lot of these guys.
And they're
accountants.
always looking for improvement in the processes. And that is like, how do you control inventory? And we've talked about that a lot. How do you control costs?
Right.
How do you manage costs? How do you even identify the costs? And we spend a lot of time on these shows helping you identify what those costs are, where to eliminate those. And that was one of the reasons that you chose the path of going down CO2 versus...
Yeah, so I think that the cost has got to be a major part of what you guys are thinking about in terms of, selection. There's a lot of false sense of economy that you can get just by going and trying to find something, cheap to get something done.
It's not just about the CapEx.
It's not just about the CapEx. You have to look at the operating costs. So you really need someone who's going to help you through that. And, a lot of times you really got to do the calculations yourself.
And it's not even just cost of dollars. It's also safety.
Yeah.
Though there's a lot of safety things and concerns and safety differences between CO2 and ethanol runs. I mean, and there's, a lot of municipalities are going, hey, we
infrastructure
don't want you.
Infrastructure costs,
Yes.
okay. I don't really want to pass over that topic too quickly, but it really is a fundamental thing. If you have a disadvantage, a cost disadvantage relative to the other purveyors that are out there, your peers, your competitors, or whatever, and you're spending X amount of dollars on solvents, and it's just pushing all of your costs up. A lot of those are called hidden costs because you don't really understand why is it that my bottom line is not as good as what I thought it would be, or why is it that I have to have a fire sale for this material when I'm not making any profit? Why is that? Well, because your operating costs are too high.
That's exactly right.
That's basically it. So are you able to responsibly lower your price so that you can gain a deal, for example, with a different provider, and still maintain a decent margin?
Yeah. And as you're going through support, that was we've been talking about support. We've been talking about costs. We talk about technicians behind the scenes. We've talked a little bit about safety.
Yep.
We also have this whole thing about parts and reliability. Okay, I know that in that list they kind of go hand in hand. But what is the availability of parts, and do you always have to ship it back or send out a technician, or
Right.
can you repair or rebuild or repack
Right.
in the field on your own rather than bring up
Right.
an more expensive technician?
Yeah. So one of the things, I mean, do you have like maintenance people that
Yeah.
you can apply to this? And if so, are there maintenance, protocols that are available so you can do a lot of your own maintenance?
Yeah.
I know that when we do an installation, we typically, do a tear down with the customer.
We do.
So that they can, okay, here's what you need to change. Here's, you have to change this every year. You'll have to change this part every year, or you have to change this seal maybe once every 3 months or whatever. And then in the software itself, it's got a maintenance interval. So, you can set your own maintenance intervals on each of the pieces that would be,
Right.
and so the operator would have to say, hey, look, there's something here that needs to be maintained. Would go to the supervisor, say, okay, you need to maintain this, or I need to do the maintenance on this. So
Exactly. And we've got, that list of parts is critical. And what are the parts that you're going to have to replace more frequently, as you indicated. But the other piece of that is, how do I watch that? What is the training of the individual running the equipment
right,
to say, all right, when it does this, you're going to have to replace that.
right,
Okay. It's
Right.
not, you don't have to worry about it at the moment,
right,
but watch it.
right,
And then replace that seal.
right.
Or replace that handle,
Right.
or do whatever.
Or preventively do that. 'Cause,
Bingo.
I mean, we already know. I mean, we don't get calls that we don't know about. Okay,
Exactly.
Someone calls us up and say, "Oh, well, I have a leak here," or something like that. Okay, well, you have to. Here's what you do. Here's the SOP for
Boom.
fixing that, and then it's all set.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, that's the main thing. Once, I mean, there are no surprises with us because we've heard any of the number of things that come up. So from that perspective, in terms of the parts, the availability of the parts, the availability of the SOPs for the maintenance, your availability, and you can do it yourself. In other words, we would like you to do it yourself because it's so efficient and so quick.
Absolutely.
If you, as an owner, if you have someone working your machine that has to, where you need to have, you need to have a mechanic come in and fix it for them or whatever. You kind of need someone who can
Yeah.
do something with their hands a little bit. So, work with some person maybe to run your machine who's more mechanically oriented than not.
Sure.
That's the.
Yeah.
And then we also do offer maintenance packages, which
We do.
a lot of our customers
They take advantage
they
of
take
that.
advantage of that. Yeah.
Yeah, because now you're on a routine maintenance. We go in, we just really tweak it, make sure that everything's good, make sure it's finely tuned on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Yeah, that's for people who want to do operational qualification, and
Yep.
they want to do that on a regular basis according to their SOP, whether they're in a GMP environment or whatever, or maybe if they're not even in a GMP environment, they just want to make sure that their machine is up and running. We typically have people come in, they'll change out all the seals on the interval. They'll just make it, and then they'll requalify it, to be according to manufacturer spec.
Perfect.
yeah.
I think that's good. But the parts, and knowing that the manufacturer is going to be around. I mean, we've been, our company has been around since what? You incorporated in 2008?
2008, yeah.
2008.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, yeah.
We sat at a Perkins.
Oh, isn't that great? With that coffee, but the coffee and the little roll and the donut or whatever. Like, okay.
Muffin, man.
I
The
have a
Perkins
dream.
muffin.
I have a dream, Randall. Like,
Hill.
you're not going to do it, kid.
Yes.
Like,
And here you are.
no,
Good
here
job.
we are. There we are. We're all set. No, okay.
But they were around for a long time. The other thing that Dr. John did that I think is very impressive is the footprint size of the, just talking about the extractor now, is amazing, and you don't lose it. So you can double your capacity, immediately scale by just adding another one and another one and another one and another one.
Right.
It's not a big
Right.
deal. Whereas
And that's actually how I think you should add capacity. There's a lot of people who say go big or go home, right?
Right.
You've seen all these. Okay.
Yeah.
I
scaffolding.
anybody who's talked to me on the phone, Usually what it goes through this process. Somebody's got a dream and it's wonderful and I love it and everything, and they're going to make a lot of money. And my whole way is the way I talk to people is downselling.
Yeah.
So, hey, look, let's get you to something here where let's get to a get started package, or let's get to this. You don't need 3 instruments now. Do 1 instrument right now, because look, if you're doing so well and you have you got all this stuff, okay, then you want to need another instrument. Okay, do that.
Yep.
I don't want to oversell you a package that, unless you say, hey, look, I know I have all the contracts for this. I got all this. Okay, great. Then you're going to be a happy customer. I'd rather sell you one piece of equipment and then have a repeat customer down the line than to sell 5 or 6 of them and then say, oh, well, now what happened? What happened to my, it's a lot of risk. So,
Oh yeah.
so you can maintain and like you were saying, increase your capacity and very easily scalable, number
Right.
one.
Right.
But number 2, it just manages your business risk.
Oh, exactly. Because you've got, I mean, this is one of the biggest conversations I have is you can get one big piece of equipment that takes 3 technicians to run,
Right.
or you can get 3 of our units that
Right.
will do the same capacity, and you can still run all 3 of our units with one guy.
Right. And yeah, exactly. And he'd have a lot of time left over. He'd be sitting on his phone half the time, most of the time.
Yes.
So you'd want to have him do, maybe you'd want to have a Rotovap there, or
Fill
you'd want to
bags.
have fill bags or whatever, do something else,
There's a lot of hats that person can
Yeah.
wear, but it goes back to costing,
Yeah.
and how that all works.
So redundancy in manufacturing is important. Oftentimes that's the beauty of a scalable solution, and that is, hey, I can take one unit, or I can add another unit and add another unit, and you have redundancy in your separate,
Bingo.
in your
Yeah, because if you go big and you have a problem, you're down. You're out of business
Yeah.
until that gets repaired. And if you're in international, that can take a month.
right.
It could take 6 weeks.
Right,
Who
right.
knows before you get somebody there. But if you go small, you're still running off of, if you've got 4 units, you're still running off 3.
Right.
You're not out of business.
Right.
You're running. Redundancy is key.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to have. I don't think anybody would disagree with that from a manufacturing standpoint. You want to make sure that you're always up and running. So that's a big deal.
And that also adds to efficiency and time,
Yeah, it does.
right?
Yeah.
Because you can run, it's a simpler unit,
Mm-hmm.
run with one person,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, the labor. Okay, the labor. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, CO2 is a lot of labor." Well, it's not true.
Well-
They're not doing anything 90% of the time.
That's right.
Okay, they're just they're kind of waiting. So they should be doing other stuff. They should those people should be doing a rotovap. They maybe just do distillation.
Yeah.
Or maybe you want to have them working on the chromatography machine, or
Yeah.
at the same time, they don't really need to. We put like audible alarms on those pieces of equipment specifically for that.
Yep.
So that you would have not only a visual, but you'd also have an audible thing. So, if you're just listening for the double beep,
Yeah.
whatever, it's done. Okay, now go switch it out. Takes 5 minutes. Okay, now you're up and running. They can go continue
Yep.
to do the other stuff. So,
Yeah, it's like I hate this, but most people hate doing laundry because it takes so long. Laundry doesn't take any time at all. The
hardly.
machines do it all.
Yeah, the
You just set your timer and
Right.
go and throw it in, take it out.
And
boom.
if you can hear it, that makes a big
Or
deal.
set an alarm. We
if
got
you can.
these.
Oh yeah, you set an
Tell
alarm.
you,
Yeah, there it
that-
is. It's
That's
all
how I
set.
do my laundry.
Really?
I do.
Wow. Jeez, I just listen for the little. I feel beep 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 beep, and then it's all done.
Yeah, but when
I have one of these things that just plays a little jingle.
wow, I
It'd
don't.
be great if I
Yeah,
could.
I have a little thing that plays a little jingle too, but it's
Fair enough.
It's remote.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. All right.
But
The
that's
other,
good.
the other thing that we haven't really touched on that is important is the idea of sustainability. And that's
yes.
one thing that a lot of people are really interested in. They want to make sure that they have a green tech solution. They want to make sure that they're, that they're not providing a great, huge carbon footprint. So if you are an engineer or you are a scientist and you're saying, hey, I want to go and I think that this is the best thing for you, really best thing for my company, best piece of equipment, best setup, then you really should also take a look at that from a sustainability standpoint. Number one, energy usage. And I'm not just talking about when you plug it into the wall and how many amps you're using. I'm talking about what the heat loads are in the building and what's that driving in terms of your overall, cooling costs. Okay, that's something you really need to think about. Do you have to have chillers that are indoors? How much heat is that dumping inside? And not only that, how much energy did it take to make the solvents that you're using?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're talking about 500,000 BTUs per gallon, or 135 BTUs per gallon, or 45,000 BTUs per gallon to produce 1 gallon of ethanol, for example, versus a recovered product, which is CO2, your footprint is just astronomical just by solvent reuse and solvent losses. And VOC would be another aspect of that. So you got energy usage, VOC, volatile organic compounds, or hazardous HAP, hazardous airborne pollutants.
Yep.
And those are the things that you really need to take a look at. You owe it to your employers to inform them of VOC, HAP, emissions issues, number one. Number two, energy usage.
Yep.
Those are some things. And then
your carbon footprint.
And then the carbon footprint. And that would be, hey, how much ethanol am I losing? Where is it going? And then how much energy did it take to make that ethanol in the first place? It's on
huge.
you.
And it's coming back to you because we see it all the time. Sustainability is critical in all aspects of the business. And they're gonna appreciate you bringing it to them.
It turns out that the most sustainable business is actually the least costly.
It really
in terms of operating costs.
Yes, operating costs.
And if you can go and you can look at the workflows and you can look at the equipment flows and for many different, combinations of equipment, and really the best way to really look at, that is to minimize your carbon. But it turns out that it's also the lowest operating cost. So do your digging, do your homework. Use people like us. I mean, we've done all the calculations. We have calculators online. Go use the calculator.
Go use it. And the other thing is as you create a negative footprint, negative carbon footprint, you can sell your carbon offsets.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you're in that,
you could do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So, the situation that would occur is when you are basically taking the effluents of one process and plowing it into like biomass, which is so that's really people who are running greenhouses and extraction operations really have an opportunity to do that.
And we've done a whole series on this, so check out our YouTube channel on that as well. And we've done I think 3 episodes on sustainability. So check those out. I think that's going to be very good, and it goes back to even waste reduction. As part of that sustainability.
Correct,
Not just power usage and carbon offset, but also waste reduction as well.
So, for example, if I have a solvent that is stuck onto my biomass that now I want to landfill, well, that solvent that's stuck onto the biomass is going to come off in the form of HAP or VOC. Okay. Or it's going to be rained on and leached into the ground. So you got to think about that too.
Absolutely.
Right? And then if you have a composting situation, you're going to kill all your bugs in there that are really important for the decomposition of the material.
True.
So, for example, if you have a lot of ethanol in there, the bugs are going to be happy for a moment or two, and then it's going to be done. It's going to be done. Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of like lab day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like lab day.
I love it. So we talk about all of that. One of the other things, and we brought this up earlier, and that is when you're looking at equipment to use, make sure that it's easy to use.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want something that is so complicated that you can't train somebody. And when you do train somebody, you're anchored to that person.
Right.
I mean, that should not be, complication should not be job security.
Right. True.
Right?
Yeah. I used to have this expression, people were looking to do iPod chemistry. So you remember back in the day where you had just one single button and then well, what kind of chemistry do you want? Okay, no problem. Just press the button in the middle. You got it.
You got it done.
Okay. Oh, what other kind of chemistry? Oh, you just twirl the whirl and you press the button. Okay, you got that chemistry. It sounds like a marketing concept, and it turns out it was a marketing concept, and it didn't work.
It didn't work.
No. Wouldn't it be great if all iPod physics, iPod chemistry, iPod whatever?
Okay, but that goes back to what did Einstein say? Make everything as simple as possible, but no simpler.
Yes, correct.
Right?
So if you can actually create a system where it has an HMI panel, for example, where you literally only have to press 2 buttons to get it started, that's probably the one you want to have.
Yes.
Because it turns out that's what we have.
Yeah. Well, and it does take some skill to watch, to listen, right?
Yeah,
and
listen,
to make
right.
sure that you're hearing, and then you just know when you're bleeding out some
Yeah.
of the
Some
everything.
people want, like, they'll ask me, okay, well, who do you think I should have run the machine? And they said, well, I was thinking about a chemist. And I thought, you probably don't want a chemist. 'Cause
No, definitely don't want
a chemist. No, you don't want a chemist. I mean,
He would
the
make it too complicated.
he would try to make it complicated. He would have, special knowledge, okay, that he would hold, okay, because of his method. That's not who you want to
don't want
have.
it.
No.
No.
You want to have someone who
knows how to push the button,
push the button,
fill the bags,
fill the bags,
put the bags in, take the bags out.
right. And in addition to that, it'd be great if you had someone who could, turn a wrench if you
Yeah.
needed to, if they, tighten
Yeah.
something up.
Yeah.
Has a good sense of cleanliness.
Yes.
Okay, you don't want to have, for example, dust around, or you don't want to have, oil spilled anywhere. So
Yeah.
that's something you want. I think that's a really important point. You don't want to have someone who's going to be sitting on their phone and not cleaning. So
I agree with that.
ABC, always be cleaning.
Always be cleaning.
Always be cleaning.
ABC.
So clean it up. I want it shining. I want to shine. I want to see my face in the equipment as I look
And we
into
do
it.
have.
Yeah.
I mean, and let's face it, guys. We work in an agricultural processing, food processing area where there's dust.
Yeah.
there's goop.
Everything's got to be
There's-
clean. Clean.
And
So,
there's oily and stickily.
yeah. Depending on the quality system that you're running, typically you would do, some sort of like line clearance, or you would do like equipment clearance in your quality person will come in and say, okay, yeah, you're doing a new batch here. We're going to swab this here. It's looking good. Okay, now you're clean according to, and they have a checklist. Check. And that's really where you get operators there who are following the checklist. In the less regulated environments, that's where I've seen some operations that are quite dirty, and there's no need for it actually.
Not at all.
No, you should probably just have the checklist there every time you do a extraction. Okay, is there anything there that needs to be cleaned?
Yes, and that is part of what we're talking about for ABC, and that's part of your training and SOPs that can be there.
Yeah.
Check, as John said. So make sure that you build that in, because even when it's clean, when you're working in a clean environment, they're going to operate in a better. I mean, when you walk into a library, you know how to act.
Right.
Right? It's a different thing. You walk into church, you walk into an office, you walk into your dentist, you're not walking into the pub at happy hour.
No.
Right?
Right.
Don't, it's a whole different feeling and flavor.
Right.
If you walk into a clean environment, you're going to get better production.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's
agree with that.
100%. So
You'll also get a different, the attitude itself,
Yes.
of your workers and everything. So
yeah, it is. There's that the human error all of a sudden diminishes in that type of environment.
Yeah.
Because it's not sloppy.
Right.
Right?
Right. Yes. If you have a sloppy surrounding, you're probably going to be sloppy. So
Yes.
that's something you don't want to do. The last thing on the operator side, I just want to kind of go back. If they, for example, if your operator would run their car into the ground and they couldn't hear the engine, telling them something, you probably don't want to have that person running your extractor
Oh,
or
good
any
point.
any of your other equipment for that matter, because the sound of the equipment, how it is, whether it's humming with a tick, or you ever hear these car guys and they said, well, how does it sound, and the person on the other end makes a tick 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 something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's exactly. It's no different than with any other piece of equipment. It has a sound, it has a cadence to it, it has all that stuff.
Yep.
And people can say, oh, well, hey, you know what? It just doesn't.
doesn't
It's
sound right.
it doesn't sound right. So then they look at it. Oh, well, this is it. I got this, and then I set it up. So
don't pick the guy who grinds the gears.
don't pick the guy who grinds the gears. Don't pick the guy who can't. If they really honestly, if they cannot ever discern anything with their car, like I know someone that is immediately close to me that would be basically have no ability whatsoever, because they would just it would be like they run the car without any oil in it, just can't figure out. Well, the car was grinding a couple weeks ago. Well, yeah, of course the car was grinding. There's no oil in it, or something along those lines. I can't figure out why it's not working anymore.
Yeah, it just stopped.
So, guys, just have someone there who has the ability to actually,
yes,
understand and be able to hear and listen. So,
and we're talking about who to choose as a partner. And, we, oftentimes, we manufacture extractors, we manufacture solvent removal, we manufacture the Drain Droid,
right?
For, the
Pure 99.
Pure 99 and the Clearstill.
And the Clearstill, yeah.
And they're really cool state-of-the-art equipment. IGW, Turp Trap.
Yeah.
I mean, we go on. But what's surprising to a lot of people is we can operate and talk to you extractor agnostic. So if you're running ethanol, we get it. We get you. We know it. We've done it. And we know where your bottlenecks are, which is predominantly solvent removal.
Right.
and remediation, making sure
exactly.
that it's coming, and recapture. And so that's why the Fractron and the Clearstill, using those two things, oh my gosh, saves you tons. And, so we're, some of our best friends are ethanol extractor processors.
Yeah.
We love that. So it's not that, okay? We just want to make sure we're coming alongside you and saying, all right, we can do any of these. We want to hear from you. We want to talk to you. When you have a problem, call us. Where there's a bottleneck, call us. Rotovapes have been a problem. They're a bottleneck.
Yeah, they are.
Decarb, for those of you who are doing decarb, the ovens, bottleneck.
So,
okay. What are the processes? What are we seeing out in the field in some of our installations? What are we doing? What are we putting in? Where are we capturing the terpenes? Those are things that we want to come alongside you and help you with your R&D and really create a really good quality system. And those are the kinds of things that we value, and we value that interaction with you. So find somebody who's not just, putting the blinders on saying, okay, well, they're not listening to my problem.
Right.
We want to be here. We want to hear your problems, and how do we help you solve them?
Right.
Because one of the things that Dr. John loves to do, solve problems, and he likes to build equipment.
I like to build equipment.
He does, and if there's something
steel,
there,
driving steel,
he loves
welding steel, bolting steel.
And coming out of the oil and gas fluid dynamics industry, I mean, that's high pressure.
We're having a lot of fun.
These little measly 5,000 psi, big deal. Lua pump, big deal. It's not, but those are fun. And you mentioned the waters before. I mean, talk about. I don't think you could hear the problem because they're so loud.
They
were loud.
They had issues. One of the things that I remember very clearly. You know what PFOS and PFOA is?
No.
Okay, that's a perfluorinated surfactant.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, of course.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
You certainly have heard of this, right?
Oh, yes. We've
in your
actually
body.
talked about
It's in your body right now. You have it in you.
I think I might have expressed that.
Okay,
earlier.
it's a perfluorinated surfactant. It's Teflon surfactant, right?
Okay.
Some people have more than others.
Oh.
And essentially what happens is it gets into your body and it biomagnifies. You cannot in other words it starts to build up. It doesn't degrade. Okay. So anyway, I digress.
Okay.
The bottom line here though is I was looking at like these guys, they were using a perfluorinated surfactant grease for their threads.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I'm like, don't do that because that's getting into your stuff.
Yeah.
Your oil. You can't see it either because it's not UV active. In other words, you can't measure for it. So it's in there. And people were eating that stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's the old days. Okay, I'm talking 2014, 2015 time frame. A lot of people were, those are ancient days. But, I think we've learned a lot and we've come a long way, baby, right? That's a old
You've
one.
come a long way, baby.
That's Virginia Slims, right?
That is Virginia Slims.
That's old cigarette. Hey, that is before my time. You have to give me credit for that.
Yes.
That's it's good.
Yeah, I think in today's climate, I don't even think they could sell Virginia Slims.
No,
it would
I
be
don't.
politically incorrect.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it would be. Well, talking about cigarettes in general, right?
Yeah.
And now they're going after vapes. So I'm not really
yeah.
sure. So now we can't smoke. We can't smoke. We can't smoke inside. We can't smoke outside. We can't smoke in the park. We can't vape now either. So that's all right. You know.
When I
whatever.
think my
So-
brain smokes, when I think my brain smokes, does that count? But that's just
you know, I
from
don't
gears
know.
grinding.
I'm not really sure. Yeah. Oh, I do see it. I do see that smoke. Okay. That's good.
This
Hey,
has been good. I hope that this helps you understand how, just some things that we've had a lot of questions about these things and how to choose a good partner.
Yeah.
For
So
equipment and things.
thank you very much.
Thank you for being here, and we will see you next time. Keep those questions coming.
Yeah,
Appreciate
take
it.
care. Bye
Thank you.
now.
Bye.
Bam.
Bam.
Are you stuck in your hemp or cannabis business? Are you not reaching your processing goals? Here at Extract Lab, we offer a free 20-minute CBD jam session. A CBD jam session is a conversation with an industry expert, not a sales call. A conversation where you can talk to us about whatever issues you are having right now and where you are stuck. We will help you uncover any issues you are currently having in your business, create a solution to fit your current scale, develop a future scale-up plan based on your needs, and help you make your processing goals a reality, all while getting your business plan back on track. Schedule your free 20-minute CBD jam session at 1-651-600-0036. Again, that number is 1-651-600-0036.